to find myself suddenly paralyzed, and I decided that I would treat myself at home. So, if we really want to get rid of any disease, we have to understand the cause of the disease and remove it. I became a doctor to reduce suffering, and when I saw the intense suffering of animals in the dairy industry, I knew that I had to quit dairy and eggs.
Hello and welcome to North Star, the world's most interesting podcast on all things plant based. In this series, we'll be having interesting conversations with change makers, thought leaders, humanitarians, entrepreneurs, and many more interesting people. So make sure you're tuned in for the whole series. In this episode, we have the pleasure and honor of interviewing Dr. NANDITA SHAH, the founder of SHAH India and holistic health expert. Hi, Doctor. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
So lovely to have you with us. Her introspective journey towards health began when she was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, a life threatening autoimmune disease, in her late 30s. Her work with SHAH India has helped hundreds and thousands of people transition towards a healthier lifestyle. She's also the author of the Amazon bestseller Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. Make sure you check it out. She's won several awards, such as the Nari Puraskar Award, which is the highest award for women in India, awarded by the then president in 2017. Doctor, it's such an honor to have you here with us.
Thank you, Palak.
Let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us how did you manage to get an autoimmune disease in your late 30s?
Well, actually, I got Guillain-Barré, which is a complete body paralysis, but it's an acute autoimmune disease. That means it can either end in death or recovery. And so, being a doctor, I knew what I was suffering from. I think that the cause of it was a rabies vaccination. The causes of autoimmune diseases can be vaccinations or foreign proteins. Like, they wrote in our textbooks eating chicken, but it can be any animal protein that's not meant for our body. So I was already vegetarian and had already started towards the vegan path, even though I was not completely vegan at that time. But I had a rabies vaccination, and I do think that that was the cause of the Guillain-Barré. So that was something that really shook my life because I had a very busy career until then and very successful. And, to find myself suddenly paralyzed, and I decided that I would treat myself at home. And I was very lucky that I had the support of my family and my father in particular. And so I was able to, be at home where even I couldn't even turn in bed by myself. So I had helpers that were coming from the hospital in the morning and at night, two different people. And it was all orchestrated by my father so that I needn't go to hospital. And the reason I didn't want to go to hospital is because I knew that those were medicines that I didn't want to put in my body. What I realized is that medicines never cure. And I know that that's a big statement that some people don't really understand. But if you think about it, whether you have diabetes or hypertension or heart disease or even hypothyroidism, people take medicines and in general, they have to take it their entire lives. And some people think that, well, at least chemotherapy or antibiotics cure, right? But if you think about it, like if you have an infection and you take antibiotics, the only thing that antibiotics can do is kill the germs. That doesn't prevent you from getting the germs again. You are as vulnerable. And since the germs are everywhere, there's so many people who are taking antibiotic courses over and over again because truly a course of antibiotics can never cure. And it's the same with chemotherapy. Like the only thing that a chemotherapeutic agent can do is kill any fast growing cell. And cancer cells are always fast growing cells. So it kills the fast growing cancer cells, but it also kills red blood cells and white blood cells and hair cells and skin cells. And so it doesn't do anything to enhance your health, which is why so many people have recurrences. So, if we really want to get rid of any disease, we have to understand the cause of the disease and remove it, right? And so, at least being a doctor since 1981 and having seen so many patients and having worked with homeopathy, which is a more holistic kind of treatment, which works on the connection between the mind and the body, I was aware that medicines cannot cure. And so I was aware that I didn't want to put medicines which had potential side effects in my body and which would happen if I went to hospital. So I was really more or less bedridden for 6 months because it takes a long time to get out of this.
Could you even talk?
Well, yeah, I could talk, and Guillain-Barré affects your body from bottom upwards, but it had a lot of impact on all my nerves. So it was difficult to breathe sometimes, it was difficult to digest, and it was even difficult to watch a TV show and comprehend. Like, I really needed a lot of rest when I was unwell. And that was only for the first 1 or 2 or 3 months. And then after that, I was doing physiotherapy and working on getting better. But uh, I wouldn't say that I could walk really until 6 months.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so it was a really and I believe that disease is a path to personal growth. Like, my disease forced me to rethink my life, and the fact that I was bedridden, which to me was my body telling me that I've got to slow down, because I told you I had a very busy practice and I was teaching all over the world. And so it did take a lot of energy, and my body was saying, stop. So I had to really rethink my whole life. And because I was rethinking my life, that's what led me to move from Bombay to Auroville, because I knew that if I stayed in Bombay, my practice is not going to reduce, it's going to increase. So I knew that I had to get away from it. And also, I knew that I wanted to live in a more natural environment. And I had been visiting Auroville for a number of years, and I could think of nothing better than that. And honestly, it was the best move that I made in my life.
Amazing. But this shift from Bombay to Auroville, right? Was it pure? Did you ever fear that, all right, I will not be able to treat as many patients if I go there? Because online therapy was not popular back in the day. Plant based wasn't that popular.
Oh, actually, I moved to Auroville, and I moved to, I actually started working the day I reached there, because I was at Quiet Healing Center. And as I told you, I was already teaching. And so the people who were in Auroville had attended our courses and had invited me there. So I knew that I would have less patients, which is what I wanted. I was also teaching all over the world, and I was going to continue that. So, I mean, I really wanted to reduce my practice when I went there.
So were you vegan at that time when you went to Auroville?
No, I wasn't exactly vegan. I already knew about veganism in a sense, not the word veganism, but I found out that in order for us to consume dairy, I was vegetarian already. And I found out that in order for us to consume dairy, cows had to be artificially inseminated, and the calves were taken away from them. And so I became a doctor to reduce suffering. And when I saw the intense suffering of animals in the dairy industry, I knew that I had to quit dairy and eggs. But it wasn't overnight. So I kind of quit all the milk. I used to drink 3 glasses of milk a day, and curds and cheese and all that. But I was still eating food that had been cooked maybe in ghee or butter. So I wasn't completely vegan when I moved to Auroville. And it was a process. Like, when I moved to Auroville, I was living in nature, more closely connected to animals. I moved into my house, and a cat moved in with me. I had never been that closely connected to animals. And I realized even more that like I needed to be 100% vegan ethically. And at the same time, as I became vegan, I started reading in medical journals about the health impacts of a plant based diet. And they're in mainstream medical journals that I hadn't noticed before, you know? So I started working with my patients on it as well. And I saw really amazing results. So it was two things, that happened kind of together. And then one day I was sitting with Ranjit Konkar of BWC, and I had someone had given me these butter toffees that were on my table in a bowl. And I just offered it to him, and he said no. And I said, because I was still eating things with a bit of butter. And so when he said that I don't touch anything that has any dairy product in it, I kind of got it. And from that day, I closed it completely myself. So he was the one who motivated me. And it's been only uphill since then.
Final trigger.
Yeah, it was really good.
So since then, Orville, how vegan friendly or plant based was at that time?
When I moved to Oroville was largely vegetarian. And I could see around Oroville that slaughterhouses would open only on Sunday, or chicken shops, and they would slaughter animals on the road, but it would largely be for Sundays. But now Oroville is very vegan friendly, and almost every restaurant has vegan options. I did a lot of work also at a point in the history of Oroville where, on Earth Day, I went to every restaurant and said, at least for this one day, would you have all vegetarian if they were non-vegetarian, or all vegan if they were vegetarian food only for that day, just to get people more aware of the whole thing. And now Oroville is non-vegetarian every single day, and they have a lot of vegan options. So I don't know whether you can call it progress. I wouldn't. But I do believe that vegetarian and non-vegetarian is exactly the same, because even for health, it's the same. Meat and milk have the same properties, and vegetarians and non-vegetarians get the same diseases. But whether it's a chicken who dies or a calf, what's the difference, right? So I truly believe that vegetarian and non-vegetarian is exactly the same. And now there's a lot of non-vegetarianism in Oroville, which was never there before. But then there's also a lot of veganism.
Could you share some of the success stories of Sharon?
Oh, Sharon's success stories are so many. Like, it's just unbelievable. So, we've helped people with all kinds of health problems, right from psychiatric problems to physical problems. And I don't even know where to start here.
Anticipate that you would end up healing so many people across a variety of areas.
Yeah, I kind of knew it because I was treating people from all kinds of areas before, but I didn't know in the beginning what a big impact it would have on the state of mind. Like, a plant based diet has a huge, huge impact on the state of mind. And that's because, when we are stressed, we produce adrenaline. When animals are stressed, they produce adrenaline. And no matter what animal product you take, like if you're taking the milk of a cow, it's full of adrenaline because the cow is stressed that she's not feeding her baby, right? And of course, if you're taking meat of any kind, then it's full of adrenaline because no animal is happily walking into a slaughterhouse.
Right.
So, today the biggest problem is that we're stressed, anxious, depressed, all of these things. And these are actual feelings of the animals who, it's conveyed through hormones, and we are consuming those hormones. So today, we're not just the state of mind, but also today we face a lot of hormonal problems because of the kind of foods we're eating, which are full of hormones. So all our hormones are orchestrated by a gland at the back of our brain called the pituitary gland. And when one hormone goes out of balance, everything goes out of balance because it's like a close, closely conducted orchestra. And that's why, today we have so many hormonal problems like diabetes. Insulin is a hormone. Diabetes, hypothyroidism, PCOD, infertility. India was a country of overfertility. Now we have so much infertility, right? And then breast cancer and prostate cancer and ovarian cancer. These are the three most common cancers. And they're all hormone dependent cancers. And prostate enlargement and premature puberty and menopausal problems and menstrual problems, and all of these are hormone dependent problems, and they're caused by hormones in our food or hormones in medicines also. They're often hormones are used as medicine, for example, steroids or hormone replacement therapy, or even oral contraceptives are hormones, right? So, so we are getting hormones in our body in various ways, but definitely dairy is a very big factor. Dairy contains estrogens and progesterones and growth hormones and all kinds of hormones because it's a secretion of a female mammal. And it's the fluid made for a small baby to grow to full size in 18 months, right? So it has a lot of hormones. And then nowadays, when we consume eggs, for example, how do they make a chicken lay 250 eggs a year when a normal hen would lay 25, right? So they're manipulating, and part of it is hormones. And then chemicals are hormone disruptors. And today we are actually living in a chemical cauldron. Like, of course, there's the air pollution if you're in a city like Bombay, but it's a non-organic food. The packaged foods are full of chemicals, and if you eat out, you're eating food with a lot of chemicals, isn't it? And then it's not just the food, but nobody thinks about the toothpaste that we put in our mouth every day is just a bunch of chemicals. And we often don't look at the ingredients of our toothpaste because if it was written in a place that was right in front of us, we probably wouldn't use it, right? We wouldn't dare put it in our
I don't even understand it.
Yeah. And then the mouthwashes, but at least we understand that these are chemicals that we can't even pronounce, isn't it? And then and the mouthwashes and so on. And then also everything that you put on your skin gets absorbed. The soaps and shampoos and perfumes and deodorants and hand sanitizers, that was such a big thing. So many people got sick or eczema because of hand sanitizers, and then cosmetics and hair dyes and so on and so forth. These are all chemicals that cause hormonal disruption because they enter our body. Like if your skin is dry and you put oil on your skin, after a while it's gone. Well, all those lotions and potions are full of chemicals, isn't it? So they're all going through our skin, and everything that enters our body is broken down by the liver and excreted by the kidneys. And so all this is a load on our liver and kidneys. And so many people have, cirrhosis or fatty liver, and that's because we are abusing our liver and kidneys. So many people have kidney disease as well, right? And then and there are other causes of hormonal problems. Vitamin D is a hormone. And sometimes people don't have the right amount of vitamin D. That can also cause hormonal issues, right? And of course, stress and so on. So, yeah, so there's so much that we need to think about.
I agree. Actually, I was one of the first people, actually, Sharon was also one of the first institutions to introduce the whole food plant based concept to me. So I attended that workshop of yours in Bombay something like ages ago, peas versus pills.
Oh,
And that was the first time, I met you. And that was just out of curiosity for no other reason. I wanted to know what is whole food plant based. And the food was mind blowing. So if you guys are watching this and you're in India or maybe now many places in the world, don't miss any of the Sharon workshops. If you don't have a disease, come for the food. It's fine.
and now, thanks to the pandemic, we have so many
Thanks.
online workshop. Like the pandemic actually forced us to put everything online. And thanks to that, we've moved all over the world. Like so many people from different places attended our workshops. And if they can't attend at the time that we're doing it, they can get the recording and still get the benefit. So that has been a big, I mean, it has really helped us grow. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's a good cause. I think this should grow to billions of people.
And also, our consultations are being done now more than ever before online. And we're getting so many results, because we have a very standardized system of doing it so that everything is covered. And so we're unlikely to ever fail, so that's something that really helps. So, what has helped, Sharon, is that putting everything in place,
Right.
like the food, the recipes, the cooking classes, the consultation, the books, that has helped a lot.
You won the prestigious Nari Puraskar by the then president, and very deservingly so. Uh, was it something that you ever expected? How did your family react?
I actually I didn't expect it. And when I got this invitation, I actually wrote back and said, are you charging for this? Because, nowadays, so many people are charging for all kinds of awards, and we never even pay for press, you know. So we would never pay for an award. Right? So they said, no, no, no. We are even paying your ticket to come to Delhi. I said, okay. So, but what I realized is that, the reason they're doing this is to give more power to us. Like when they find that somebody is doing some good work, and when they give this award, then it helps that information spread wider. And that's what I really appreciate about the Nari Shakti Award. So that was a good thing for us also because, people think that if you have an award, that's really something. But my awards are all the people who got well,
Absolutely. And all the animal lives you choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, if somebody is sitting on the fence and they still have cold feet, they want to explore a plant-based diet, but the data doesn't support it, or they simply don't have enough information, or the doctors or other friends and family tell them otherwise. What would be your recommendation to them?
Okay, so I usually explain to them the logic and the science behind it, so that will be really helpful to them. But I also tell them that, look, you don't have to make up your mind for the rest of your life right now. Like, try it completely for a month or do the best you can, right? Don't do nothing because you can't do everything. Do whatever you can and see the results. And, I was just talking to Madura today because Dr. Anand Kumta sends many of his patients to Madura. And she was saying that, the patients are not ready for all this, right? So what they do is they just take a 10-day appointment, like a 10-day consultation. And in those 10 days, if they see the results, they're going to extend it. So if we can inspire people to check it out for 10 days and see the results, then they are likely to do it for much longer because, over a period of time, everyone knows that health, you feel so much better if you're never taking any medicines, isn't it? Right? Yeah.
What would be your message for somebody who wants to follow their North Star, but they don't get the support? If somebody who's definitely built something ahead of its time, ground up, without little support, kept at it for more than 18 years now, commendable. And what would be a message from your side to somebody who wants that support?
So, I know so many people who are doing things that I don't know how I would have ever done them, but I would like to do them. For example, Atul Sarin, who's looking after so many cows now, and he's turned vegan. And he's turned vegan just because of his animal welfare work. And he found out that, like, you can't drink milk and, be an animal lover, right? Or Sai Vignesh, who's doing so much great work. I mean, there's so many people who are doing such amazing work. And I believe that, once you know what you want to do, because in a way, destiny helps you, everything helps you. So you just have to start doing it and be consistent and persistent no matter what. Like I remember had announced a seminar, Peas versus Pills in Bombay. My very first seminar didn't fill. And so I had to cancel it. And everybody kind of looked at me when I announced it again. But I just said, I got nothing better to do except this. So I'm going to do it. And so I think that we just have to keep going whenever we have a calling. And I see so many people who are doing a job or living lives which they don't think are so purposeful. I'm really happy because I'm living a purposeful life every single day. And so I wouldn't change it for anything. And I think that anyone who wants to do something different, they know that, what they need to do. They just need to get on. So here's what I would tell them, that you can do anything you want, but use your skills to do that. Like, for example, if I had started a farm sanctuary, maybe I didn't have any skills for farm sanctuary. And, I might be tearing my hair out, running after vets and this and that. But I was lucky that I knew that I wanted to spread veganism. And I'm a doctor and I can do it best through my skills. And so I would always tell people that use whatever skills you have, figure out how to use your skills to do what you want.
Thank you so much for such an inspiring interview and this message of hope, peace, and love for everybody. And we wish you all the best in your journey ahead, and may you continue to inspire millions of people.
Thank you, Palak. And definitely, I would like to thank you and Vegan First because you've done such a lot to spread veganism as well.
But I think it's a collaboration, truly, isn't it? So again, maybe all work together for the animals and for the planet. For those of you watching, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed it. And please do check out Sharan. The link is in the comment section below. If you want to watch more such inspiring videos, share this video with your friends and family. Comment in the section below. And we'll see you again in another episode of North Star soon. Let's take a picture for our North Star Wall of Fame. Smile.